If the IRS doesn't receive the withheld taxes by the deadline, a penalty sets in to recover the funds from the responsible parties. The penalty allows the IRS to collect the taxes due from the financially responsible parties and is called a trust fund recovery penalty, or TFRP. This penalty is an IRS collection action in which a revenue agent examines the business practices in financial affairs to determine who is responsible for paying the back tax debt. A monetary penalty is also imposed in the amount of 100% of the unpaid taxes. Not only does the IRS need to establish that an individual is responsible, it must also establish that the negligence was intentional. Examples of potentially responsible parties include a company, board member, partner, or an employee such as an accountant. The TFRP liability doesn't apply to someone whose financial authority can be overridden by a senior officer. The IRS agent examines company documentation, such as vendor contracts and canceled checks, to determine liability for the unpaid employment taxes. That's not to say that any responsible individual will be deemed liable for the debt. The IRS must have a documented reason to believe that the debt went unpaid intentionally. A responsible party may not know that the tax wasn't delivered to the IRS by the deadline and therefore wouldn't qualify for the TFRP. If the IRS agent determines that you may be a responsible party that willfully neglected to submit the tax payments, a notice will be sent to your last known address with the Form 4180, which is titled the Report of Interview with Individual Relative to Trust Fund Recovery Penalty, or Personal Liability for Excess Taxes. This form requests comprehensive answers to several questions pertaining to your responsibility within the business. It's designed to extract information from the taxpayer that allows them to make a case determination. Many taxpayers have unwittingly submitted information on this form that has incriminated them unnecessarily in their case. Although written responses should be thorough and concise, they shouldn't include non-pertinent information. The services of tax professionals with an exhaustive comprehension of the TFRP are recommended when this interview request is received. Systematic preparation for the interview is essential to an effective series of responses. When the IRS agent makes his or her final determinations, notices are sent to the responsible parties with a due date for the unpaid taxes and payment instructions. If you don't agree with the agent's conclusion, you have the right to file an appeal within 60 days of the date of the notice. The appeal should be prepared in unification with your tax representative and include a written response and supporting documentation. If the appeal is denied, you may escalate your case to a federal court of law. Before filing the lawsuit, the taxpayer's portion of the unpaid tax debt must be paid. Should the lawsuit conclude in your favor, you may submit a request for a refund to the IRS. Consult with your professional tax representative about status of your limitations and filing requirements. Extensive knowledge of the company's business practices, as well as everyone's role in distributing money to creditors, is essential in avoiding the liability of a business employment taxes. Robust documentation that verifies your position increases the likelihood of a favorable outcome. Once you receive notification of a trust fund recovery penalty, hire a reputable professional tax representative as soon as possible and begin to gather pertinent documentation. Tax Champions has been working with taxpayers to overcome TFRPs for 35 years. Our wide-ranging experience and skilled advocacy for your best interests are second to none. We're available for a free, no-obligation consultation in which we'll discuss the options you have available for specific circumstances, as well as take the next steps. Give us a call at 800-518-8964 or enter your contact information in the blue box on the right side of this page, and a knowledgeable staff member will reach out to you.